It's Wednesday, February 11th. In the headlines, government to grant tax relief to companies assisting employees impacted by Hurricane Melissa. In business news, mixed financial results for corporate entities. Regionally, Cuba's fuel crisis worsens amid U.S. sanctions. And in sports, under-17 reggae boys to clash with Canada in crucial World Cup qualifier, and senior reggae boys to play a friendly match against Martinique. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The government is moving to grant tax relief to companies that provide financial assistance to employees affected by Hurricane Melissa. This as national recovery efforts continue following the Category 5 storm last October. To that end, Finance Minister Favour Williams on Tuesday piloted amendments to the Income Tax Act and the Asset Tax Specified Bodies Act in the House of Representatives. Both measures were approved.
Mr. Speaker, in this context of profound national disruption and personal hardship, many employers stepped forward to provide emergency financial assistance to their employees. These payments were not made as remuneration for services rendered, but as support for personal recovery, welfare, and basic survival during a period of national distress.
The amendments are designed to ease the financial burden on employers who extended supports to staff beyond regular salaries and allowances, while also coping with the hurricane's impact on their own operations. Minister Williams said the changes introduce a limited adjustment to the corporate income tax filing and payment deadline.
The Income Tax Amendment Bill and the Assets Tax Specified Bodies Amendment Bill provide for a limited adjustment to the annual filing and payment date for corporate income tax, moving the final return and the payment date from March 15th to April 15th, beginning with the year of assessment 2025.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, says the ministry has been reviewing daily updates and making preparatory moves because of the situation in Cuba. The development comes as Cuba was dependent on Venezuela for much of its jet fuel and other oil products, but that has been sparsely available since mid-December when the United States blocked the South American country's exports. The Foreign Affairs Minister gave an update on the situation during Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief.
On Monday, Cabinet discussed the situation and is considering what support could be provided to students under the scholarship program for the continuation of their studies should they be disrupted on a prolonged basis or
Children with special needs are set to benefit from major technical upgrades at the Micro College University's Child Assessment and Research in Education Center, following a new partnership involving DIGI Foundation and the Ministry of Education. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Youth, Skills and Information, Dr. Kassan Troop, says the project will involve the upgrading of 5 classrooms to meet innovative learning environment standards.
We are building out 5 classrooms over by MicroCare. We're looking at ICT support, smart rooms, smart technology in the rooms. We're looking at making sure the room is fitted for purpose. And so we are really grateful. The windows will be renovated, the flooring, the doors, everything you can think of to make it smart and adequate for students who need this kind of support.
She says renovations will also cover improvements to windows, flooring, and doors to ensure the spaces are fully equipped and appropriate for students with special needs. Dr. Troop further noted that the ministry has secured additional staff to help address the high demand for child assessments at the care center.
We have done so for Sam Sharp Teachers College, and we have the structure in place for case that we are building the assessment support services for students in Region 2 that covers Portland, St. Thomas, and St. Mary.
For its part, Digicel Foundation Jamaica will invest $75,000 to support upgrades at the center. Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. The income tax threshold, or the amount of money which a worker will have to be earning before being liable for income tax at a rate of 25%, will be raised to $1.9 million this April and to $2 million in April of next year. This arises from amendment to the Income Tax Act by Parliament on Tuesday. The upcoming increase builds on the increase from $1.5 million to $1.7 million implemented by former Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark in 2024. This measure, along with the $200,000 which employers can pay tax-free to employees who were affected by Hurricane Melissa, will provide some relief to workers who are suffering from the high cost of living generated by Hurricane Melissa because of its impact on the agricultural sector and food prices. It's earnings season on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and several companies reported a mixed bag of financial results. First, Lasco Distributors is reporting lower profits for the 9 months ending December 31, despite continued revenue growth driven by strong demand in several product categories. Net profit declined by 18% to $858 million. Next, QWI Investments has reported a total comprehensive loss of $41 million for the quarter ended December 31 last year. The company says the loss came mainly from a $26.9 million decline in the value of its investment securities and $6 million in unrealized foreign exchange losses. This was partly offset by $7.3 million in dividend income. That said, the directors of Wisynco Group are reporting a 50% surge in net profits of $1.5 billion during the second quarter of its financial year, which ended on December 31 last year. Revenues also jumped 14% to $16.2 billion in the same period. The company said these results were way above the net profit after tax of $1 billion recorded on revenues of $14.2 billion in the same period of the previous year. For the trading period of February 10, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Lasco Distributors Limited with 4,138,168 units, or 18.21% of market sales activities. Trans Jamaica Highway Limited with 3,788,971 units, or 16.68% of market sales activities. Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited with 3,149,617 units, representing 13.86% of market sales activities. Investor activity remained concentrated in transportation, distribution, and advertising plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market, based on Bank of Jamaica data for February 10, 2026, Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $156.87 and buying at $155.31. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by $5.31 transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $116.19 and was bought for $110.88. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of 99 cents in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $213.16 and was bought for $212.17. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, meetings with bankers become difficult because professionals arrive expecting their ideas and expertise to drive the conversation, while bankers are focused almost exclusively on financial risk, financial history, and financial predictability. When credit signals do not align with the proposed opportunity, bankers disengage early, often without fully discussing the idea, which feels dismissive to the professional. This mismatch creates frustration on both sides. The professional feels unheard, and the banker sees unresolved risk. Until credit and structure clearly demonstrate reliability, the meeting stalls because the two parties are speaking fundamentally different financial languages. For our focused and funded feature, are you seeking a new form of income for your business? Well, procurement rules are the key to using government contracts to fund your business. And know this, certain contracts require insurance coverage or performance bonds to mitigate government risk. It is important that businesses understand the common requirements when they apply, how businesses can prepare without paying too much for insurance or incurring unnecessary costs. As an example, our client, Trevon, who operates a solar equipment installation business, tried to self-insure. This confusion led to overpaying. Professional advice on insurance aligned coverage with contract requirements. No more. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital markets and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, Cuba's deepening energy crisis has escalated, with the island now reporting that it is running out of jet fuel. The development follows new U.S. sanctions announced 2 weeks ago by President Donald Trump, restricting Cuba's ability to import oil, including aviation fuel, on the international market. Al Jazeera's Ed Augustin reports from Havana.
Cuba has announced it's about to run out of jet fuel. Planes can no longer refuel on the island. Another heavy blow to an already beleaguered economy. Acute fuel shortages have gotten even worse after US President Donald Trump announced 2 weeks ago that he'd impose tariffs on any country sending oil to Cuba. This father and son are leaving the country for good.
I'm going to look for a better life because things here are really bad.
On Monday, Air Canada announced it is suspending flights to the island.
Other airlines will pull out too, because they can't guarantee fuel for the return trip.
Does that affect you?
Any measure they take is going to affect us. The people are always the ones most affected.
The Cuban government has announced a raft of emergency measures to radically cut back on fuel usage. For example, vital services, they say, are to keep running. Fuel is to be prioritized to food, health, national defense, and to make sure that critical water supply is still reaching regular people. At the same time, hospitals have already shut down in the last days, and across the country, non-vital, non-emergency surgery has been paused. Last year, Venezuela and Mexico were Cuba's main oil providers. But since Nicolas Maduro was abducted by US Special Forces last month, Venezuelan oil deliveries have stopped. On Sunday, Mexico announced that it was sending more than 800 tons of food to the island, but no fuel. President Sheinbaum said her government is talking to Washington to find ways of sending fuel to Cuba without being hit by tariffs.
You can't strangle a people in this way. It's very unjust.
Tourism is one of the island's main sources of hard currency, but right now, you wouldn't know it.
Look around you right now. There are like 3 taxis in a park that's usually packed with them. Lots of my colleagues are now working because they don't have fuel.
In less than a week, the black market price of petrol has doubled. Things are moving quickly in Cuba. For people across this island nation, the impact of this de facto oil blockade is inescapable. Ed Augustin, Havana, Al Jazeera.
The government has approved the establishment of a permanent World Bank Group office in Port of Spain, Trinidad, a move expected to unlock major financing for Trinidad and Tobago's private sector. Planning Minister Dr. Kennedy Suarez Singh says the office is already being set up, with staff mobilizing and plans underway for a multi-billion-dollar investment pipeline to support local businesses. The details in this TTT News report.
Government has already approved the establishment of the World Bank Group's permanent office in Port of Spain. This was confirmed by Minister of Planning, Economic Affairs and Development, Dr. Kennedy Suarez Singh, a move he says will unlock major financing for TNT's private sector. Speaking at a conference at the University of the West Indies, he revealed that the World Bank has already selected office space and has begun mobilizing personnel.
And they have already selected an office space. They have staff already looking to move down. So we're moving very, very assiduously to bring those supports required to be able to give the jolt. Because whether we like it or not, we will not get foreign revenues coming out of the energy sector anytime soon. That will give us the type of... So we need that kind of injection coming in.
He said the government has asked the World Bank to structure a multi-billion-dollar investment pipeline for local businesses, especially in export-oriented sectors.
It's finally established in Port of Spain. Their mandate is to create, through the IFC and MEGA and other agencies, is to create that funding available for local businesses to inject, and that will be, and we have asked them to set up that funding between $1 and $3 billion US. So that's what this government has been working very, very hard. The Attorney General is in the process of vetting those agreements.
He also claimed that the institution had been trying to establish a presence in Trinidad and Tobago for nearly a decade, but had faced obstruction from the former government.
In sports, we kick off with football. Jamaica's under-17 Reggae Boys are 90 minutes away from securing a third appearance at the FIFA Men's Under-17 World Cup as they prepare for a decisive Group G showdown against Canada in the CONCACAF qualifiers in Costa Rica today at 3 p.m. Jamaica time. A draw will be enough to book Jamaica's spot at the tournament in Qatar later this year, while a victory would seal qualification outright and cap an impressive group stage campaign. We stay with football as Jamaica's senior Reggae Boys are set to face Martinique in an international friendly on February 21 as they intensify preparations for their final push to qualify for the FIFA World Cup in March. The Jamaica Football Federation is expected to make an official announcement regarding the match later this week. The encounter will mark the team's second friendly in as many months under interim head coach Rudolph Speed. In their previous outing, the Reggae Boys traveled to Grenada to secure a 1-0 victory over the hosts. Martinique, currently ranked 13th in CONCACAF, were last in action in November when they suffered a 2-0 defeat to Cuba and played to a 0-0 draw with the Dominican Republic. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.